moment. Oh, okay. So earlier I had already performed the second chapter. Some of you would have come. And then the third chapter was read by the author himself. Last week, actually, same time, he went live on Instagram and he read out the third chapter. And today I am here to perform the fourth chapter of this book. So where did we leave? So Coward and the Sword is the beautiful story of young Kadis. He is the prince of the kingdom of Kofu. You might remember, okay, I'm just recalling what we have already seen. The second chapter, we saw that Prince Kadis was very scared of everything. He didn't want to go out of the castle. He was scared of even getting sick. Such was his personality. But the mother and father, the king and queen, they wanted him to become brave. Because after all, he is going to inherit the kingdom of Kofu, is it not? So they wanted to make sure that he was able for that. So there is a big tour which the king of the king of Kofu is going to go on. And he is taking along his son, the Prince Kadis. So in the third chapter, we saw that there were two friends, Shijo and Sarah, who were also joining this entourage. So they're all going to leave for this big tour of the army cantonment. So we also saw that they are saying bye-bye to the village chief, where they halted for one night. They hosted them, the village chief hosted this entire party. And they also took Sarah from there and they are going. Now they went into the deep forest. Now young Kadis was seated inside the carriage. He was very scared. Sarah and Shijo, on the other hand, were so enthusiastic. Everything was so thrilling for them. They looked out of the window of the carriage. They kept looking at the trees that were staring at them. They enjoyed every sight that was there. On the other hand, Prince Kadis was very scared. He drew the blinds of the carriage window and he sat inside. He was getting more and more fear because they are nearing the border of the kingdom of Kofu. And next to that was their enemy kingdom, Malonga. So Kadis was very scared. What is going to happen? Is there going to be a war? What if I'm attacked? All of these things came into Kadis' mind. So the Shijo and Sarah were wide-eyed, looking at everything that they were passing through. Finally, they reached the army cantonment. There was a long wall that was being built. They saw it was such an imposing sight, such a long and tall wall that was being built between the two kingdoms. This wall was extending all the way from the east to the west. And the camp was looking like a beautiful grid. All the soldiers were there. They were always battle ready. You know how it is, right? So as they reached this place, there was this army general who greeted them. He galloped in a horse and he neared them. So he greeted all the members of the royalty and he said he was going to take them on a tour of the camp. So the king said all the preparation and arrangement can start. So they were all going to go around this camp and in fact, climb that wall and walk over the wall a few distance to see how it feels. What about our prince? Of course, he was in jitters. As I said already, he was closer to the army now. So he was very, very sad. He had his own tent to be in. On the other hand, his friends, Shijo and Sarah, they entered their own tent and they shared their enthusiasm, whereas the prince was so fearful. They both came to Prince Kadis' tent. They had just got acquainted to him, right? They were not yet good friends. They were just getting to know the prince. They understood that the prince is very scared. So Sarah and Shijo told him, don't you worry, you are the son of the great king. You will always be protected. And that too, we are in the army camp now. We have the royal guards and everything. There is nothing that you need to fear. Just enjoy this. It is such a wonderful opportunity. Who will get a chance to come along with the king to inspect all this army cantonment? Don't you worry, they kept saying. But Prince Khadis thought, what is so much of fun in this? It is after all very jittery to be very close to this army, very close to this enemy camp. I don't like it at all, he said. But as they were talking, there was this army general who came and said, it's time to step out. We are going to look through the entire cantonment. The prince was disappointed. You know how it feels like, oh my God, I have to go along with father because I'm forced. He didn't have a choice. So were all the soldiers. You know, they thought they are going to see the prince who is valiant and all that. They were also disappointed. What is this? This is our prince. He is so timid. Is he the person who is going to rule over the kingdom of Kofu afterwards? They were unsure about it because our little prince was not valiant. He was not like this. He was always very timid and scared. Nevertheless, they all got down. Now they have come to the foot of the big wall that separates the two kingdoms, kingdom of Kofu and the kingdom of Malonga. The wall was magnificent. It was impregnable. That means the enemy armies can never penetrate into it. So this was like a big guard to all the people of Kofu. Now there were these steep steps which they had to climb to reach the top. Now our prince was afraid of heights. He refused to climb this. There were archers who were standing on top of the wall. The king came near him and said, don't you worry, my child. I am here with you. Not only that, all these royal guards are there. You just follow me. I will take care of you, said the king. So first it was the king and the general who climbed the steps, followed by them all the royal guards, then Shijo, then Sara, and finally our young prince Khadis. So he was very, very scared of heights, being alone, coming to new places, everything he's scared of. Even the soldiers were perplexed, looking at what is this? Our king is so brave, but his son, he doesn't look like one. He is a coward, they were all thinking. When the prince had covered only just quarter of the distance, he looked up. Already his father had reached the top. All the other members were at the top. Now the prince looked down from where he had come and he froze because he was so scared. Such a long distance I have covered, he thought. Then all the soldiers gathered down at the foot of the wall to witness this awkward moment. You know, it's not something that's very likable, is it not? Even the king felt so embarrassed. He didn't know what to do. But it was Sara who empathized with him. Sara was his friend. She was climbing right in front of him, right? She leaned and held onto his hand. Khadis also held her hand. In fact, this was the first time he had ever held the hand of a girl. And he also felt very embarrassed. Then she pulled him up very slowly. Khadis climbed. Now he's reached the top. All the soldiers cheered. Hey, everybody has come to the top. The king was so happy. He thought within himself, in fact, it was a good idea to bring Khadis along. He is able to see everything about our army, cantonment and everything. Tomorrow he is going to rule over the kingdom. He is going to be really, more responsible about it. That's what the king thought. What about our prince? He was worried about what? He has to climb down next, right? He cannot forever be there on top of the wall. How am I going to climb down? This was one thing that bothered young Khadis. He didn't know what he's going to do. But he just followed the king. It was a strong wind that blew. They're all on top of the wall. And the breadth of the wall was such that there only two soldiers could stand side by side. So the king followed, and then all the other people followed him. They all just walked through the length of the wall to the other end. There was some more portion that was still left to be built because this was in the process of getting ready, is it not? So it was getting built. Now all the entire entourage came to the center of the wall. Now right down below was this huge and heavy gate between the two kingdoms. Right above that gate, on top of that wall, the entire party was standing. Now you just turn forward and see The beautiful kingdom of Kofu was in front of you. Though it was a tiny kingdom, it was beautiful. It was prosperous. And Kadis thought to himself, what a lovely place lay in front of me. Am I going to protect this kingdom? Am I the only heir to this throne? What am I going to do? So he was even more depressed now. Now Kadis looked down, believed. It's a big height he's standing on, right? He had this fear of height. It's called acrophobia. He started to shiver and his vertigo kicked in. Again, the fear of height. Suddenly his knees started to wobble. He didn't know what was happening to him. He felt woozy. Everything started spinning around him, in a fraction of a second. He started to perspire or sweat so much and he just fainted. Can you imagine? The king is there, all the royal guards are there. There is this army general, the prince and his friends. But suddenly the prince faints. You think it is a good scenario? Sara and Shijo rushed very close to him and held on to the prince. Immediately, all the royal guards came to their help. Everybody rushed next to the prince. They all helped him and slowly they came down. That's the end of chapter 4. What happened next? Were they able to revive Prince Kadis? And when he woke up, was he ready to take on the entire kingdom? That we will see in the next chapter. I'm going to show you some pictures of chapter 4. This, you see, is the beautiful forest they were going through. Can you see? Lovely, is it not? And one more image, let me show. Oh, that's the only one we have on chapter 4. So they are all moving. It is a big chapter book. It has, I think, 46 or 34, yeah, 46 chapters spanning across 200 plus pages. It's a lovely read for young readers like you. You must purchase this book and enjoy it. But I'm going to meet you next Saturday, same time, to perform the next chapter of Coward and the Prince. Now over to you. If any of you have any question or you want to share something, you can raise your hand. Okay, I will let you speak. You can share or ask a question. Hi, Shraddha. Shraddha, hi. Did you enjoy the story?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am very nice.
Did you enjoy the story?
Yeah, I did. I very much did.
Do you want to buy this book and read?
Yeah, and I was planning to when I heard the story.
You must, okay? It's a lovely book. You will enjoy it. Thank you, Shraddha. Hi, Tanvi. How are you?
Hi, ma'am.
Hey, did you enjoy today's story?
A lot, ma'am.
Good. You must also buy this book and read. I'm sure it will be a joy ride for you, the entire book. Okay?
Ma'am?
Yes.
When I'm going to finish the book, thank God it's Diwali.
Thank God it's Diwali. That book is already over. I did not tell you the last or the climax of the book. So I left it there for you all to buy that book and read. Okay. Thank you, Tanvi. Very nice talking to you. Anybody else would like to share something? You can use the hand symbol. I will let you unmute and speak. Hi, we have Rihanna here. Hi, Rihanna. Is that your name?
What, ma'am?
Hi, Rihanna. Did you follow today's story?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you already bought the book?
No, ma'am.
You're going to buy it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, lovely being with all of you. I will meet you all next Saturday, same time, with the next chapter. Okay, thank you all. Bye-bye. See you all.